How to Live a Happy Life with Richard D'Angelo. Chapter 4.
Hello, my name is Richard D'Angelo, and this is the fourth chapter in a series of talks on how to live a happy life. In our last chapter, we discussed the mind and the fact that the mind produces fear. Also important is that the mind is not you. In this chapter, we're going to discuss a little bit more about fear. We are all surrounded in a bubble. Within the bubble, we feel safe. If we move outside the bubble, we are afraid. As an example, if I were to ask you to tie your shoes, that is inside your bubble. You can do that without even thinking about it. If I asked you to give a lecture to 2,000 people in an auditorium on nuclear physics, you would be extremely afraid, petrified even. That is outside of your bubble. So we live inside this bubble of safety. We like to stay safe in our lives to keep our mind quiet because our mind gets very upset if we move into the fear zone. But if you live your life inside the bubble and never go into the fear zone, that bubble will eventually shrink. And the amount of things you can do within the bubble with no fear becomes smaller and smaller. One of my students mentioned an old lady he knows who lives in her own home and is afraid to go out onto her own porch for fear. It can get that bad. You could be afraid to go to the corner store at 10:30 at night, and you're thinking, gee, 10 years ago I wasn't afraid, but I am now. So that bubble gets smaller and smaller if you do not push the boundaries of that bubble. And if no one ever pushed the boundaries of that safety bubble, we would never have a high jumper. Jump over a bar that's over my head. Are you crazy? What if I get hurt? What if I look like a fool? What if? Nobody would ever accomplish anything of any note if fear totally controlled them at all times. So it is endemic to you to push that bubble of fear, go beyond that bubble of fear, and learn to live with the fear. Learn to live with the mind. And we're going to talk about that next. The Power of Self-Awareness and Self-Acceptance, A Guide to Finding Happiness Within, my new book, explores all the details of these lectures and more. My book is filled with many fascinating stories and discussions focused on helping you obtain increased levels of happiness and self-love in your life. This book would be a wonderful gift for family and friends. It is available on both Amazon and Audible.com. Check out the links below for easy access.